What's up, guys? I am going to do an oil change today. So I warmed the bike up a little bit just to get the oil circulated. I guess I didn't really need to do that since I'm gonna fucking dump the shit in there and then it's gonna have to recirculate, but would have been smarter not to fucking start it, 'cause now I'm gonna go get a tool. This is my trick to getting this fucker loose. Always works. All I need is a little bit of leverage. This is gonna be my oil beliefs and like how to change oil on my bike video. Make sure you have a good O-ring, have it covered in oil, make sure it's in good condition. And it says drop, or it says pour when added to the crankcase. Supposedly it quiets noisy lifters, cleans dirty parts due to deposit buildup. 1 pint treats 10 quarts, 1.5 ounces per quart. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it as a 16 ounce thing, so I'm way too lazy to actually measure it. Pour a random amount in. Well, not fully random. I pour a little bit less than it says because I don't personally like having that much watery substance in my oil, and I'm not going to keep it in there for that long. I'm going to go ride it, get it up to temperature, rag on it a little bit just to get everything going through there, anything unstuck that was stuck, and then come home and change it immediately. Fucking kickstand. Alright, so I'm out riding with seafoam in my crankcase. And I'm going to ride around, get her up to temperature, get her warm, rag on her a couple times in first gear, just to try to blow loose any deposits left in my engine on the valves or on anything in there. And I've used seafoam in my crankcase before, haven't had any damage or anything go wrong or any seals leak or anything, so I'm not going to say it works because I haven't noticed any good or bad difference, but this kid's walking in the middle of the road. But it's kind of peace of mind, just like, because I'm changing my oil with only, I think about 1,800 miles on this oil, but I guess my valves were really tight when I got my valves adjusted. And he didn't actually suggest that I get my oil changed, but me personally want to get my oil changed because tight valves actually mean that they're not making enough contact when they're not closing all the way. They're not seating properly, basically, from my understanding. If I'm wrong, correct me, but from my understanding, if your valves are tight, it's kind of backwards in my opinion, the way they explained it to me. It would seem that loose valves would be the ones that don't touch or don't close properly, but apparently it's tight ones. But anyway, regardless, I guess I had loose or tight valves and they weren't closing, so that means there was getting a bunch of blow by into my oil from the exhaust and stuff like that. So I just feel like I should probably change my oil and put some seafoam in there and just try to wash out everything that is in there. Thank you. And actually this time I'm not going to change my oil filter because I've only got 1,500 or 1,800 miles on this oil. I know I said it was probably dirty or whatever, and that kind of is stupid on my part. I'm just broke and lazy right now, and hopefully it's, I mean, the oil is really not even, it's not black or anything, it's not that dirty. I would just feel better if it had some fresh oil in there. Maybe quiet it down a little bit. I just like the peace of mind of new oil. I do believe in changing your oil every 3,000 miles or 3 months. Definitely. Maybe not in cars, but definitely in motorcycles. In my car, because I do mostly, well, I'd say 90% freeway mileage. I change it about every, well, I still change it about every 3,000 miles, but sometimes that's like 4 or 5 months, but I'm not as strict. Because I try not to let my bike even get to 3,000 miles before an oil change. I don't normally do it at 1,800, but around 3,000. All right, bike's still running. Well, I'm gonna put you down because I don't want to get it all oily. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it over here. Just like that. Oil's a nice caramely black or dark. It wasn't that dark when I just went riding, or before I went riding, so I feel like the seafoam did do something. I meant to show you guys the process of putting the oil in, but I forgot that I was recording. But basically what I did is there's a sight glass right here. I don't know if most motorcycles, I'm pretty sure most motorcycles nowadays have it, but I know some don't. What I would do is fill this up until I got to the high, and then just close this up, or I would have the funnel in here filling it up with oil, and then I would bring the funnel out, close this up, put this on there, start it, let it run for a minute, and then turn it off and make sure it's still above the low line, and still, I mean, I keep it at the high line, but because it takes a while for it to actually get back up in the oil cooler, back in the oil filter. Well, I didn't change the oil filter, but you get the point. It takes a while to circulate all the oil, so sometimes it looks like you don't. It looks like you're full, but then you start it and then it circulates everywhere, and now it's somewhere else, so it looks like you're lower here. But I did that about 3 times, and now we are just a hair under high, which is fine by me. All right, so I've got fresh oil in here, and now I'm gonna go get some fresh gas from somewhere I don't normally go, just because I've been getting Chevron lately, and I just want to fill it with something different every once in a while. I don't want to be on the same gas all the time. I don't think that's good for your motor to be running the same additives all the time. Switch it up. Anyway, my little oil spiel is change the oil often. I don't think it matters. Not that I don't think it matters. I would rather have cheap oil in there, in and out in 1,000 miles, rather than pay 8 times more. Okay, maybe not. This is an extreme example, and obviously one that probably isn't accurate money-wise. But let's say my bike takes 4 quarts. 4 quarts of Mobil 1, let's say, is 40 doll hairs. And Rotella T is about $11 per gallon. But I'm just going to make it 10 for shits and giggles. That guy's sitting there texting at fucking late. What a retard. Anyway. Totally lost track of where I was. I'll pick back up in a second after I remember. Say Mobil 1 for 4 quarts is $40, and Rotella T is $10 for one gallon, which is just about 4 quarts. So let's just make them both 4 quarts. I would rather have Rotella in there 4 times, like 4 oil changes, than leaving Mobil 1 in there for 4 times as long as the Rotella. I believe in having fresh oil, fresh oil, fresh oil. Obviously I'm not a freaking scientist, so I don't know how all this stuff works, and I don't get my oil tested I'm pretty sure the place you can send it for a small fee or maybe free, I don't remember. Maybe I'll look into that, but I would just rather have more frequent oil changes as opposed to synthetic with less frequent oil changes. That's just how I look at it, the way I ride and the way I spend my money, I guess. And I feel like that's just better on your engine, having fresh oil in there rather than some synthetic that's probably still good. I mean, it's just dirtier because it's been in there longer. That's just common sense. The longer it's in an engine, the dirtier it's going to get. No matter how good of an oil filter you have, no matter how much clean of an engine you have, it's always going to get dirtier. It's always going to be hot cold, which is breaking the oil down. So, especially on an air-cooled bike, I'm probably never going to put synthetic in here just because I don't see the need on an air-cooled bike to use synthetic. I don't know if there's any benefit or if there's actually, it might harm the engine to my, I mean, I don't know, but I know some engines are never made to run synthetic, and some engines are only made to run synthetic, though I know when you break an engine in, it is recommended to use SAE, conventional oil, or whatever it's called. I know it's conventional, I don't know where I got the SAE from. But anyway, and then you're supposed to use conventional oil while breaking in because synthetic has too much, it's too slippery, so the parts that are rubbing together won't actually break in. They'll be so lubricated that they won't like really touch. They'll just have oil in between them because synthetic is so much better than conventional when it comes to lubricating, which I don't see how that could be a downside. But I do understand that if it's not actually touching, then it's not going to take any little metal flakes off because it's not touching. So synthetic, it makes sense to me, but I don't know. This is too far out of my path of knowledge. I know how to change my oil and stuff like that. So I'm going to do it often, whether it's hard in the pocket or not. That's only $25 for that gallon for enough to change the oil on here. And online I can get the oil filter for like $5, so I'm paying 30 bucks every couple of months to change my oil. And that's not bad. I mean, you get better fuel economy when you change the oil. It starts easier, it runs smoother, it runs quieter. So I mean, I really just don't see a downside to it other than cost and time, which I'm not super broke, but I definitely have time on my hands to do it, and I'd rather change it too much than not enough, because if you take it to a mechanic and say, oh, what's wrong with my engine, and then they say, when's the last time you changed your oil? And you're like, I don't know, maybe last year, something. Like my dad, who just, he doesn't know how to do things himself and he doesn't want to pay for it, so he just doesn't do them, which I've learned is not the way to do things. If you don't want to pay for them, learn how to do them yourself. But I'd much rather take a hit of $30 every couple of months rather than have a mechanic tell me I scratched the piston walls or something because I left the oil in there too long. It got sludgy and couldn't circulate correctly anymore. Alright, I'll talk to you guys when I get off the freeway. But definitely let me know what you guys think about changing your oil. What oil do you guys use? What bike do you have? And how often do you change it, time or miles wise? Give me both answers. I'd like to know. On my little bike, I've already changed the oil. My little CT70 clone, I've already changed the oil. I think I'm on my 4th oil change right now, or after I do this next oil change, it'll be my 4th. So I've done it about 3 times, and I've got 230 kilometers on it. I did the first one at, I think like 25 or 30, and the next one at like 80, and then just over 100, and I just changed it like at 200. Because I was going dirt biking with my friend, I didn't want to leave crappy oil in there for the day. Going out in the hot sun and treating the bike bad, getting on it, flooring it. Or not flooring it, but really giving it all it's got. Because it's lugging my ass around on the dirt. So I just wanted to give it some fresh oil before we went out. And it we didn't end up out very long because my friend's girlfriend ended up falling and knocking her shoulder out of socket or whatever it's called. Dislocated her shoulder, there we go. She dislocated her shoulder, and then we spent the rest of the day loading up the bikes and then going to the hospital and sitting with her, waiting for her to be out of the hospital. We had just enough time to drive home. Wasn't that great, but still had fun. Yeah, we went out to Prairie City, which is in Sacramento. It's a big open regional park kind of thing. They have races out there. I didn't get to see much of it, but it seemed like a pretty cool place. So I definitely want to go back out there again. I wish I had a real dirt bike, but then again, I don't want a real dirt bike in a way. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys use, what oil you guys use, what bike you ride, how long have you ridden it. So just give me your whole background story of your bike and oil changes. I'd love to hear what you guys are saying, what you guys do, and why. Why do you guys change your oil at that time, or why do you guys choose to use this certain kind of oil? I'm always open for opinions. You may change my mind about something if you give me enough education that I feel as though I've learned something. So just let me know. How does that car get there? Anyway, yeah, just let me know, guys. I'd really appreciate your feedback this time. Yeah, so just leave it in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want. I love you guys. Alright guys, I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Alright, well I gotta do something while the oil drains, so you guys try and guess what song this is. It is country, so most people probably don't listen to this genre, but I do.